Welcome to The Good Woman Awakens. This is a space for women who were taught to be good, but were never taught to be whole. Here, we do not perform empowerment, we examine it. We look at patterns, we look at conditioning, we look at the roles we were trained to play, and the identities we are ready to release. This is not about blaming men. It is not about bitterness. And it is not about noise. It is about awareness, emotional sovereignty, and the quiet courage to see clearly. If something feels uncomfortable here, well, stay with it. Awakening is rarely loud, but it is always honest. Let's begin. You can be kind without betraying yourself. In this episode, we define the difference between generosity and self-erasure using relational science, communal versus exchange norms, Bowen family systems, overfunctioning roles, Jung's persona/shadow lens, and a Stoic perspective on virtue and restraint. You'll learn why resentment often isn't bad character, but a signal that your giving lacks reciprocity or your needs are being silenced. You'll leave with 3 practical tools: a pre-yes question, a 20% reduction boundary for auto-yes commitments, and a simple reciprocity script. Educational content only, not therapy. Kindness is beautiful, but kindness without boundaries can become self-betrayal. And many women don't know the difference, because we were trained to equate love with sacrifice. Here is a simple definition. Kindness says, I care about you. Self-betrayal says, I will abandon myself to keep you comfortable. Let's make this practical. If you give and feel aligned afterwards, that is kindness. If you give and feel smaller afterwards, that is self-betrayal. Why does self-betrayal happen? Often because self-silencing was rewarded. You learned early. If I'm easy, I'm loved. If I don't complain, I'm chosen. If I endure, I'm respected. So you became a master of swallowing anger, swallowing needs, swallowing discomfort, and you called it maturity. But the body keeps score. When you betray yourself repeatedly, something happens inside. A quiet resentment forms, not always loud. Sometimes it just feels like exhaustion. Now let's add Jung. When your persona is nice, your shadow carries your unmet needs and anger. So you become kind on the outside and resentful on the inside, not because you are bad, because you are split. And wholeness means integrating what you were trained to hide. Now, relational norms. Communal love is healthy when it is mutual. But research on communal and exchange relationships shows that people operate with different norms. In communal bonds, we respond to needs. In exchange bonds, people track inputs. When you give communally to someone who behaves in entitlement mode, you create a gap. That gap becomes resentment. So emotionally healthy kindness includes reciprocity, not strict tallying, but mutual care. Now, Bowen systems. If you learn to overfunction, you may have built identity around being the stabilizer, so it feels morally right to keep giving. But overfunctioning keeps under-functioning alive. If you always rescue, the system never changes. So sovereignty requires allowing appropriate consequences, not cruelty. Consequences. Now a Stoic practice. Ask, what is virtuous here? For Stoics, virtue is not being endlessly accommodating. Virtue is wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. Wisdom, seeing reality. Justice, fairness, including fairness to yourself. Courage, saying no when necessary. Temperance, restraint from overgiving, so you can be kind and restrained. That is mature love. Now, how do you tell the difference in real life? Here are signals. If you are afraid to say no, that is not kindness. That is fear. If you say yes because you want approval, that is not kindness. That is bargaining. If you keep giving to avoid conflict, that is not kindness. That is anxiety management. Kindness is freely chosen, not fear-driven. Let's close with a small, respectful practice. Before you say yes this week, ask, do I want to do this, or am I afraid not to? And if you're afraid not to, pause. Choose one clean boundary. Because your life is not meant to be a constant donation. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to be whole. Notice what resonated, and notice what resisted. Both are information. Sometimes what unsettles you is not attack, it is recognition. You cannot change your past. You cannot rewrite the years you overgave. You cannot undo the times you stayed longer than you should have. But you can change what you tolerate now. You can change what you explain away. You can change what you excuse. You can change the standards you quietly lower to keep peace. Awareness does not make you cold. It makes you clear. And when a good woman becomes clear, she stops negotiating with patterns that cost her dignity. She stops mistaking endurance for love. She stops calling emotional labor devotion. She stops trying to be the reason someone else matures. She turns inward. She stabilizes herself. And from that place, her choices change naturally, not dramatically, not angrily, quietly. Until next time, stay conscious, stay steady, and stay awake.